Welcome everyone to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. The ongoing sessions are on Aparokshanubhuti offered by Bindoji. And for reference, Bindoji is using this English translation, which is more or less a word-to-word translation from Swami Vimuktananda's interpretation. The Sanskrit version, which is from Acharya Vidyaranya, is pasted in the chat. So if you're interested in catching upon the right verse, you can use these texts. The replays of all the other 35 rooms and previous lecture sessions and classes offered by Bindoji are available in the YouTube channel, Advaita Retold. You can also catch them as replays on Clubhouse. And just a few housekeeping things. I will be closing down the chat and the hand raising when the session is on. And I'll remind you of the following, rescheduling of 2 rooms towards the end of the session, because then we'll have more people. Over to you, Bindoji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. We'll start as usual with the invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Gururatmeti Murti Beda Vivagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Aparokshanubhuti. Shri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. So we are entering the 100th verse. There are about totally 144 verses. So another 44 verses are pending. 45 verses. Now, from this verse onwards, it is practicing for the purpose of the knowledge what has been explained till now. Acharya has very clearly taken us from our Dehatma Buddhi, that we are the physical body, the mental, intellectual complex, to our true nature of Atman, the self, the the consciousness awareness aspect of us as who we are. For the most apt student, that was more than enough. But knowing very well what are the problems normally all of us face, even after knowing and telling logically and with all the explanations and examples, when it is told that we are not the physical body, but we are the consciousness awareness, which is not specifically ours. So there is no individuality also for us. The individuality is of the waker when he is in the waking. So when this is very clearly taught by the teacher Shankaracharya in the verses, still all of us have the problem of shifting ourselves from our identification with the individuality ego to that of the real nature of ours, which is present in the waking, in the dream, in the deep sleep, and knows that we are going through these experiences, but we are knower of these experiences, but not individually the dreamer, the waker, or the deep sleeper. So having said that, now Acharya is moving to the 100th verse, says that Tripanjanganyatho Vakshye पूर्वोक्तस्य हि लब्धये तैश्च सर्वै सदा कार्यम् निदिध्यासनमेव तु. Ataha means now. Purvoktasya, the knowledge which has been said before. Purva uktasya means whatever knowledge has been said till now. He is an explanative just to ascertain the same, that indeed for the labdaye, for the attainment of that knowledge, three panjangani. Three panja means 3 into 5. Angani means steps. That is 15 steps. Vakshye, aham vakshyami, aham vakshye. What? Tai means that 15 steps. With the help of survey, Tai survey, all of them, all the 15 steps put together, even though there are 15 steps which I am going to tell, out of that, Nidhidhyasanam evatu sada karyam. The Nidhidhyasanam is the most important thing which need to be permanently carried out. The English translation is very clear. For now, for the attainment of the aforesaid knowledge of Atmajnana or Aparokshanubhuti, I shall expound the 15 steps by help of which one should practice profound meditation all the times. Now, Vidyaranya is going into much more detail than what is mentioned. That is why his commentary is very important for us. तदेवम् एतावता ग्रन्थसन्दर्भेण मुख्य अधिकारिणः वैराग्यादिसाधनचतुष्टयपूर्वकम् वेदान्तवाक्यविचार एव प्रत्यग् अभिन्न ब्रह्म अपरोक्षज्ञानद्वारा मुख्यम् मोक्षकारणम् इत्यभिहितम्. Let us break it into individual words and understand that. Tadevam. Tadmevam. Therefore, after having explained what is your nature, what is our nature, or what is the reality, etavata means by this much, or etavata actually means this much is enough till now, whatever has been discussed, or in this context of discussion. Grantha sandarbhena, which has been sandarbha of the text. Grantha sandarbhena, in the text, whatever has been text, in the context of the text. Mukhya adhikarinaha, for the primary qualified aspirant, the aspirant with the mukhya qualification or intense qualification, who is endowed with vairagyadi sadhana chatushtaya purvakam, who has been, well established in the dispassion, etc. Vairagya, viveka, shat sambhati and mumukshutva. That is that vairagyadi sadhana chatushtaya purvakam. Vedanta vakya vichara eva pratyag abhinna brahma aparoksha jnana dwara mukhya moksha karanam iti abhihitam. Vedanta vakya vichara eva. Vedanta vakya means the words of the Vedanta or Upanishads. Vichara eva, inquiry into that alone. And for what? Dwara means that is the method, that is the path. What is being saying? Pratyag abhinna brahma aparoksha jnana. The knowledge which has been told till now is that the non-difference between Brahma and Pratyagatma or Aparoksha Jnana. That is the Aparoksha Jnana. That is, Atma and Brahma are not different, is one and the same, or the expression of the world or the objects of the phenomenal world and the subject-object dichotomy is all nothing but awareness or consciousness. and abiding in that by the most befitting student. Mukhya moksha karanam iti abhidam becomes the chief means. Karanam here means cause, or you can say the means. Mukhya karanam iti abhidam. It has been stated that for the most apt student, the words of the Upanishads are, and the meditation or the vichara on that is what is more than enough. But what happens to others? If we are not the most apt student. Idanim asakrit vichara api buddhimandyam vishaya asakti adi pradivandena aparoksha jnanam yasya na jayate tasya manda adhikarinaha nirguna brahma upasanam eva mukhya sadhanam idi abhipretya asat sadhanam dhyana yogam prati janate acharya. Idanim, for now, for those who are not the apt student or the most qualified student, asakrit vichara api buddhimandyam janayet. Pratibandh, what is that? Even asakrit vichara api, even by repeatedly hearing. This is exactly what we know asked in that class. Why are we repeating again and again, and how many times do we will keep on saying that this is the thing, this is the thing? But even after repeated inquiry, buddhimandyam, due to the dullness of our brain, plus vishaya asakti pradibandha, the attachment towards our enjoyment through the sense organs. Because I told you in the last class that sense organs are the one which is confusing us or deluding us. So vishaya asakti adi pradivandena, when that happens, due to the attachment to the enjoyment through the sense organs, aparoksha jnanam na jayate. This aparokshanubhuti, what is guaranteed in the text, that doesn't happen. Na jayate, doesn't arise. That knowledge doesn't come. Aparoksha jnanam. Tasya manda adhikarinaha nirguna brahma upasana eva mukhya sadhanam idi abhipretya. For such dull intellected students who have heard the Upanishad but has not able to realize that they are not this individuality anymore, those mandadhikarinaha nirguna brahma upasana eva mukhya sadhanam. For them, meditating on the nirguna Brahman, not vichara. There is a difference between vichara and meditation. Meditation is, a practice in the mind of a sadhya, means an achieving result by constantly reminding ourselves about it. And this is what is called meditation. If we want to quieten our mind, we meditate upon our quiet mind. And whenever thoughts come and the mind becomes agitated, we are forcefully bringing it back to the quiet mind. That is what is called meditation. Or if you are meditating on Shivalinga or Vishnu or any other Christ or any other sadhya, means the object of meditation, that process has to be completed for those who are not able to do vichara. Now, what is vichara? Vichara is analyzing and affirming by intellectual discrimination of the facts and delusion. Between the delusional experience and factual experience, we come to the discrimination of that by discernment or the intellectual knowledge which we apply using the Upanishadic language. That, when it is not possible, meditation is the method which, for the subsidiary students who are not capable of doing that, for that asat sadhanam dhyana yogam pradijanate acharya. So for those students who are not able to do the intellectual analysis and affirmation of one's own nature, dhyana yoga is recommended. Tripancha iti atho shabdaha adhikari vedartham kvachit iti pataha. Tripancha, 3 into 5, 15, and atha shabdaha in the sloka is to indicate adhikari veda, is to show the difference between the two. Atha is for the supreme student, whereas Tripancha is for the secondary or those who are Madhya Adhikari. Some other places, Kochit is a pataha vyasti. I mean, there are places where instead of Tripancha, the Tripancha has been replaced by Kochit. Tasmin pakshe yataha manda adhikari vicharam na labate ataha hetoho ityartaha. In that case, since the dull aspirant cannot engage in inquiry, for that reason, this 3 into 15 steps are being explained by the acharyas. Tripancha means 3 into 5, 15. The 3 into 5, 15 is the steps which are being mentioned here. Tat Sankhyaakani Angani. They are all called the limbs of what you call the process. Nidhidhyasana Angi Sadhaka Sadhana Visheshan. Or the particular aids for the practice of Nidhidhyasana. Yajna Sadhaka Prayoja Adivat Ityartaha. Either for the Yajna, there are Sadhaka Prayoja Adi. Sadhaka and Prayoja, there is a doer and there is a benefit out of the Yajna, and there are methodologies, do's and don'ts, and time to be done, etc., etc. These are all called Yajna Sadhaka Prayojaka Adivat. Similarly, for Nidhidhyasana also, Acharya is now going to narrate 15 steps. Vakshe, aham vakshyami. I am going to tell that, explain that. Taihi vakshyamanahi sarvai angai nididhyasanam eva karyam natu tushnim avastha uchitam ityartaha. Out of these limbs, which are going to be 15, nididhyasana eva karyam. Nididhyasana is the ultimate which is to be achieved. Whereas the 15 steps, out of that 14 steps are meant for preparation for Nidhidhyasana. And Nidhidhyasana is not to be confused with meditation. Natu tushnim avastha. It is not sitting quietly or inactivity with inactivity that is Nidhidhyasana. Ityartaha. That is the meaning it is. Nidhidhyasana kartavya pratitnya prayojanam aha purvokta iti. Nidhidhyasana kartavya. Nidhidhyasana has to be done, is an obligation. Pratitnya prayojanam. The purpose of this declaration is purvoktasya swarupasya avasthana lakshana mokshasya siddhaye iti. Purvoktasya means what has been narrated earlier as the methodology in which the discernment or the inquiry, vichara has to be done. That is what is Purvoktasya. What does it achieve by that? Swarupa avasthana lakshana mokshasya. That is a moksha. That itself is the moksha. Nidhidhyasana itself is the moksha. The liberation defined by abiding in one's own true nature. So abiding in one's own true nature is what is called Nidhidhyasana. Avasthana lakshana is the meaning. Swarupa avasthana lakshana is the definition for it. Siddhaye, for the attainment of that. Iri Vedanta prasiddha tu Patanjala Vailakshanya Lakshanena Mokshasya Siddhaye iti. This Vedanta prasiddha, as per the established norms of Vedanta, tu shabda, if there is a word tu in the, what do you call, verse, that is to make a difference between Patanjala Vailakshanya Lakshanena Moksha Siddhaye. It is to make a distinction between the Patanjala system, Patanjali Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. It is not similar one for the moksha. Anena Ashtanga Pratipadakam Patanjalam Avaidigatvad Vaisheshiga Adivat Anadeyam iti Dvanitam. Anena, by this statement, that by making the distinction between the Patanjala Yoga, Ashtanga Pratipadakam Patanjalam, the eightfold method of Patanjali, Avaidigatvad, is not of the Vedic character, nature. Because whatever has been mentioned by Patanjala in the Yoga Sutra or the Patanjali Yoga, that doesn't form the part of the Vedas, whereas Upanishad is part of the Vedas. Therefore, Upanishad is a Vedic method or the method of the Vedas or for the attainment of this, and not Patanjali Yoga, which is not in the part of this part and parcel of the Vedas. Vaishesha Adivat Anadeyam, like the Vaisheshika Sutras, which is also not acceptable by the Vaidika, Astika people. Anadeyam is unacceptable. Iti Dvanitam is what is being suggested. So in this particular verse, not only the 50, he is referring to a 15 method steps which are mentioned for the purpose of achieving Nidhidhyasana, he is also negating what is not to be done. The meditation which is sitting quiet and without any activity and keeping quiet is not meditation or Nidhidhyasana. Whereas Swarupa Avasthana, abiding in one's own true nature, is what is Nidhidhyasanam being defined as. And it is not similar to the Patanjali Ashtayoga, which is not part of the Vedas. Therefore, Avaidikam, it is not Vedic or the Vedic methodology. And that should be shunned or should not be used, is what the summary of these verses of this one. Now, verse number 101, Nitya Abhyasya Sadet Praptirna Bhavet Sachidatmanaha Tasmat Brahma Nidhidhyasa Nadhyased Jitnyasu Shreyase Chiram. Nitya Abhyasa Hate, without constant practice. Nitya Abhyasa Aheta. Sachidatmanaha, the Atman which is in the Satchit, in the Ananda Swarupa. Praptir na bhavet. Realization of that will not happen if you are not practicing Nidhidhyasana of Satchidananda. Tasmat, Therefore, Jignasu, one who is seeking or one who is inquisitive about knowing one's own true nature, he should Shreyase for the achievement of this good of abiding in one's own true nature, which is Brahman in nature. Chiram Nidhidhyasana. Chiram means long or continuously or eternally. Nidhidhyasana, one should be in the state of identifying with one's own self. So here the English translation is very clear again. Atman should, what is the absolute existence and knowledge, that is Satchidananda, cannot be realized without constant practice, chiram abhyaset. So one seeking for the knowledge and identification with Atman or Brahman should do meditation on Brahman for the attainment of the desired goal. He is now referring to the Madhyamadhikari. Uttamadhikari doesn't need to do anything because Shravana Samakale Eva Jnanam. He has achieved the knowledge in the time when he heard itself. So there is no confusion in such a person. But those who are not should be meditating upon Brahman for this purpose. So one should long meditate upon Brahman. This Swami Vimuktananda, being of Sri Ramakrishna mission, he is referring that. The realization of Brahman does not come in a day. It requires years of strenuous effort. One should not therefore give up one's practice even if one meets with failure in the initial stages, but should continue it with renewed vigor. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, a hereditary cultivator never gives up his cultivation even if there is no crop for a year. He continues it with ever-increasing zeal till he reaps a good harvest. So too should be the true aspirant. Now, let us see what Vidyaranya has to say. Manda adhikari anyat sarvam karma saguna upasana vichara purvam rupam sadhanam cha vihaya. That is Manda adhikari. Those a mediocre aspirant who is not fit for Shravana Samakale Eva Jnanam. The moment he listens to that, he has the knowledge and he identifies with his knowledge. Anyat sarvam, else, everything other than this, karma, all the rituals, saguna upasana vichara rupam, taking the form of meditation and the reflections on saguna Brahma, and such means sadhanam cha, vihaya, tektva, having abandoned or set aside, Shraddhaya Acharya Ukta Prakarena Nirguna Brahma Eva Nidhidhyaset. Shraddhaya, with the faith of in the teacher, Acharya Ukta Prakarena, now which is going to be mentioned as the 15 steps. Following that, Nirgunam Brahma Eva Nidhidhyasan. One should do the meditation of Nirguna Brahman, Atman, as one's own self, using the 15 steps which is being mentioned hereafter. Iti aha nityam iti spashtam. It has to be permanently or every day it should be that. Asukte amrutakaram vedanta chidnanam kuryat. Asukte means from the time till we go to sleep. Amrutam kalam, till we die. Not only we go for sleep or till we die, if we abandon the body. That means all in our efforts of waking, Vedanta Chindanam Kuryat. We have to remind ourselves and abide in the Upanishadic statements. Even the slow aspirant must eventually drop all secondary supports, and with faith in teacher, he should directly contemplate upon Nirguna Brahman, for that leads to moksha, abiding. Now 102 and 103 is to be read together. Yamohi niyama tyagaha yamaha hi niyamaha tyagaha mauna desha kalata asanam moolabandhamscha dehabhyasamcha drik sthiti prana samyamanam chaiva pratyaharascha dharana atmadhyanam samadhischa Proktanyangani Vaikramad. Now he is going to narrate the 15 steps. Natu kani tani angani vai. No, let us read the English translation first. Yamaha, control of the senses. Niyama, control of the mind. Tyaga, renunciation. Maunam, silence. Deshaha, place. Kalataha, time. Cha asanam, posture. Moolabandha is the root that restrains. Cha dehabhyasam, the body movement, the equipoise of the body. Driksthiti, steadiness of vision. Cha prana samyamanam, control of the vital forces. Eva, also pratyahara, self-withdrawal. Dharana, concentration. Cha sam atmadhyanam, meditation. Samadhihi, complete absorption. Cha vai angani, the steps kramad, in the order of proksan. In the kramat proktani, these are being described now onwards. Now he is going to narrate yama, niyama, tyaga, maunam, desha, kalata, asanam, moolabandha, dehabhyasam, drikstitihi, prana samyamanam, pratyahara, dharana, atmadhyanam, samadhi. These are the steps which is being recommended by Shankaracharya. Now the definition for these yama, niyama, etc. are different from that of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So we have to be very careful to understand and follow that. What is it? That's yama means control of the senses. See, all these things are now being narrated. We have a tendency. It is not our fault, because that is our identification with ourselves. We think we are the physical body. So control of the senses, control of the mind, renunciation, place, time, posture, the moolabandha, dehabhyasam, posture of the body, driksthiti, steadiness of vision, prana samyamanam, control of the vital breath, pratyahara, withdrawal, dharana, concentration, atmadhyanam is meditation, samadhi is complete absorption. Now all these things, when it is being told, we will be thinking it with the identification that we are the body, mind, intellect complex, and all the attention will be starting on the wrong foot. Therefore, all these things are, even though they are being there and prescribed by the acharyas, we are not able to achieve the result what we are looking for, because we are starting our journey on the wrong foot. We need to understand that these are all being mentioned to attain what we are in our Swarupa Avastha, or our true nature. So these steps of yama, niyama, dharana, pratyahara, samadhi, all of them are to be identified in such a way that they take us away from our physical, mental or intellectual individuality, and release that from that makes us what we are and abide in our true nature. Only in such a case we will be successful in the state of Nidhidhyasana, which is being prescribed by the Acharya here. So let us look into each of them. Verse number 104. Sarvam Brahmedi Vijnana Adi Indriya Grama Samyamaha Yamo Yama Iti Samprokta Abhyasaniyo Muhurmuhu. Now he is defining what is Yama. The Yama is in the translation, previous translation, it is mentioned as Yama as control of senses. Whereas here Acharya is going to pressure, is saying that Sarvam Brahma Asti Iti Vijnanat. So we have to start it with the right foot or the correct foot for the journey. We should start with the knowledge that Sarvam Brahma. Not only I am Brahma, but everything else is Brahma. In Vijnana, this Vijnana should be there in the root of our all activities, thoughts and practices. So Indriya Grama Samyama. Indriya means sense organs. Indriya Grama means all the sense organs. Grama here to include all of them. Indriya Grama means all the sense organs. Here, why should he mention the word all? It is with a specific intent that we are not being told that we are the waker alone. The dreaming experience is also using sense organs. So all sense organs include the sense organs of the waker and the sense organs of the dreamer when he is in a state of dream and identifying himself as a dreamer. So, Indriya Grama Samyama, Samyama means restrainment or control of all sense organs of both waking and dream. This is Ayam Yama Iti Samprokta. That is what is called Yama. That means not only the waking sense organs, but even the dream-based sense organs should be abiding in the, knowledge that Sarvam is Brahman. That is, even the dream experiences are nothing but Brahman. We are not talking about waking alone, but we are talking about waking, dream and deep sleep. All of them are happening in Brahman. And that is when we control the waking sense organs. The dream sense organs, we may not be having any control over it. But the dreaming and the dreaming sense organs follow the pattern of the waking. That you cannot deny it. It follows the pattern of the waking. It may think about the person in the waking or the child in the school and return, whatever may be the time or, thought process that are there in that state. It is connected with the waking. So that is what is to be saying, that when we do practice this in the waking, it also will affect our dream. But both have to be controlled. Muhurmuhu means repeatedly. Abhyasaniya should be practiced. Samprokta abhyasaniya means it should be practiced rightly in the correct way. Whereas Patanjali describes this as non-killing, truthfulness and non-stealing, continence and non-receiving. That is the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, chapter 2:30. But when it comes to Advaita, the yama activity is to remind and abide us not only in the waking but in the dream also, as not only we, all experiences are acting or projections from the Atma or Brahman. Then only it will become effective in our approach. Sajadiya pravahascha vijadiya iti akriti akritihi niyamo hi paramanando nityat kriyate bhudai. Sajadiya pravaha. Jati means group or category. Sajadiya means one category. Similar thoughts. Pravaha means flow or continuous flow of one kind of thought. Sajadiya vritti pravaha. Vijadiya iti tiraskriti. By rejecting what is vijadiya means non-conducive to that thought where Sarvam is becoming Brahman. But if that is not the case, we categorize ourselves as we are the one with, different thoughts, etc. The continuous flow of only one kind of thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts is called niyama, which is verily the supreme bliss and is regularly practiced by the wise. Whereas in the Patanjali, the niyama is internal and external purification of contentment, modification, Vedic study and worship of God. So these are the easily acceptable for people, those who are constantly dwelling on Brahman. Whereas in the yogic method, in the Vedantic method, the practice of the dreaming sense organs will follow the waking sense organ. Therefore, unless we are practicing and continuously being in that Brahman thinking, in the waking, the dream will be in the Vijadiya Vritti Pravaha, means in a different world of experience. To negate that both dreaming and waking are producing similar thoughts, we need to put effort in the waking. Tyagaha prapancha rupasya chidatmagatva avalokanad tyago hi mahatam pujaha sadhyaha mokshamayo yataha. Chidatmatva avalokanad. Realizing it is all consciousness or Brahman, which is the Atman. Pratyega rupasya. It is prapancha rupasya. Prapancha rupasya means the phenomenal world. Tyagaha, abandonment. Mahadam puja is honored great by others. And tyagaha, renunciation of, is the renunciation of the phenomenal world. Yataha sadhyaha mokshamayaha bhavati. Yataha, because of that condition, sadhyaha mokshamayaha, immediately the liberation bhavati. If you are able to achieve that by just doing niyama, where you don't have vijatiya vittipavaha, the phenomenality as a multitude of names and forms, but they are nothing but one and the same. Sat, that is what the Chandogya Upanishad, Sadisampadya Naviduhu Sadisampadhyamahe, or in the Vaitri, in the Mandukya Karika it said, Ekatvam, that oneness through which we know that is our nature, and Atma, Brahmaiva, Napara. Atma, Brahma, there is no difference. So this will become immediate liberation for such people who are able to do the yama as per the Vedantic scriptural announcement. Yasmad vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha yad maunam yogam yogibir gamyam tadvat sada buddha vacha yat aprapya manasa saha nivartande. So the words vachaha, aprapya, without reaching, manasa saha, with the mind, yasmad vivartade, from where it is returning, yat maunam yogibid sadhya gamyam, that silent state where yogis having achieved become speechless, and they having attained that sarvada tad bhavet. One should abide in that. One should remain in that silence or that knowledge of the awareness, which is attained by the yogis. That is why yogis who have achieved that becomes quiet and they become speechless. They are not the one who keep on going on talking like what I am doing or what any other teacher is doing. Where, yoga is not that which is being practiced while the mind is in the run for the worldly objects. The objects are controlled and kept in a place, both waking and dream, being in unison, is able to have that state which is not available for those who are going to the back door or back room of Patanjali methods. So that is not what is being recommended by the Upanishadic methodology. 108 and 109 together we'll read. Vacho yasmin yasya annivartate yasyat nivartate vacho yasyat nivartante tad vaktum kena shakyate prapancho yadi vaktavya so api shabda vivarjitaha yadi va tad bhavet maunam satam sahajam sanjitam gira maune tu balanam prayuktam brahmavadibihi. Vachaha, words, yasyat nivartande, returning from which vaktam kena na shakyate, and it is not able to even define it. Prapancho yadi vaktavya so api shabda vivarjita. Such people who have achieved prapancho yadi vaktavya, even if they have to do the transaction to be spoken in the phenomenal world, so even that shabda vivarjita is devoid of words. Bhavati, this yat satam sahaja sanjitam tad maunam bhaved gira maunam brahmavadibihi balanam prayuktam. Now, when this yogi or brahmavadibihi, the teachers of Brahman, when they are talking to the children or the students, they are using the words Shabda Vivarjitaha. They are using words which are devoid of the multiplicity of the word. They are teaching and talking, and even in their talk, they are not bifurcating or making any difference between the words which are being used to bring the phenomenality or the multiplicity in the word. Therefore, they become maunis. Mauni means those who are silent. Gira maunam bhaved maunam. The gira means by restraining the words. Even the teachers of Brahmatjnana, they teach it through silence without using the words of the phenomenal world. This is to give the example of Dakshinamurti. Maunavyakya pragadita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam vasishtande vasadrashiganaiva avrutam brahma nishtaihi. So that type of a statement, those who are Brahmavadibi, those who are in the Brahman, abiding in Brahman, they can communicate without uttering any word about the phenomenality of the world, because there is no phenomenality to be explained. That is to be explained is words fail, and the mind is unable to reach. So that is what is being mentioned in these two verses. They are teaching through silence, but at the same time their silence is not to be mistaken as the silence of the ordinary person. The ordinary person, when he is silent, his mind is reveling and talking with the mental image of the phenomenal objects. Whereas one who is an adept student or Uttamadhikari or the teacher who has now taught the most apt student, both the teacher and the student communicate in silence. And that is what happens in the case of Krishnamurti and the 7 Sanagati, 7 rishis of Prapanchasya, Brahmacharis. So this being the methodology of Yama, Niyama, and what you call Shabda, which is being used for communication. It looks very utopian and impractical, but it is not. We will discuss how this is being done by a Brahmatjnani without uttering a word, how he can communicate. We'll discuss this in the coming class on Friday. We're starting when we'll continue with the verse number 110 after that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Bindoji. So we've covered the Yama aspect as how it is so different in compared to Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I've opened up the hand raising and chat. This is a good point to interact with Bindoji to find out if you have any doubts or any clarifications.
Don't think anybody has got any doubt. Or maybe after Friday's explanation, it will become more clear for them to ask questions.
But the next class is Wednesday, right, Bindoji?
Yeah, Wednesday class. Yes, that's right.
Yes. And then the Friday and Monday classes, Friday and Monday classes are cancelled, right? And then next Wednesday.
Yes. Right.
Just for the audience sake. I'll also put it in the schedule.
Yeah. We'll have Wednesday class. After that, we will have that Wednesday, the following Wednesday. Not the Friday and Monday, we will not have class.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesse.
Bindoji, I have the question with Yama, right? Which is kind of a restraint, right?
That is in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Okay. So here, how is it? It's not defined as restraint, but rather just meditating or Nidhidhyasana on everything is Brahman, right?
Here, it is being started as knowing that everything is Brahman. Our thoughts, explanations, words, or every activity should be living that reality. It is not restrain our sense organs. When we are engaging in our waking and dream with the sense organs, the knowledge that what is the reality behind the appearances of the names and forms from where they have arrived, including the subject and object, are non-different, one and the same. That knowledge is the one in which we are controlling our sense organs. Because in the last class, if you remember, I told that when we are looking at an object, we are seeing an object as object. For example, if I am looking at my mobile, it is a mobile which I am looking at it. But those who have achieved it, or those who are in the path of this one and do thing, they are seeing that they are also awareness, and what is being experienced as a physical object of the mobile is not really a physical object independent of awareness. That is dependent on awareness, and that dependency on the awareness, we use the term mobile as an object for it for transaction purpose. The reality is that is nothing but awareness. This constant reminding of us that every experience, Shabda Sparsha Rasa Rupa Gandha, should remind us that what is nothing but awareness or consciousness. My nature and the nature of the physical object or the physicality of the phenomenal world, their dependency, they are nama rupa, names and forms, but names and forms are not independent objects. They are dependent upon the awareness of the object in which they are being transacted with. That knowledge is being practiced. That is the restriction what is being referred here in this Aparokshanubhuti as Yama.
Okay, yes. So the restraint is not with reference to the restraint of the senses themselves, but the wisdom arising through seeing that the objects appearing to the senses are in a state of awareness or in awareness.
Yeah, in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is saying that you have to withdraw your sense organs engaging in the physical world. That is Yama. And Andarindriya is called Yama, Niyama. Then they have got Pratyahara, means controlling the mind. Both Yama, Niyama put together with the Pratyahara should withdraw even from the mind. Like that is what the Patanjali Yoga is there. But here we are not touching upon those aspects. Here we are substituting all experiences, all knowledge, or all interactions is really in due to the misunderstanding. They are names and forms by me. They are not names and forms. They are nothing but Atman or Brahman, and appearing as the names and forms, including me as a subject individuality.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. Any
Thank
further
you all.
questions from the audience?
No further questions from anyone. So we can wind up.
Okay. Yes, meditate on this. Do the Nidhidhyasana,
Yeah.
Sravana Manana, and come back
Right.
on Wednesday. Yes.
On Wednesday. Right.
Yes. Thank you, Binduji, and thanks everyone for becoming a member of the club house and then coming and attending these sessions. These are ongoing sessions, so this is the 36th. So we have started on the first one. So if you're interested in following up, join us on Wednesday at check the times in your schedule. But for India, it is 6:30 a.m. IST. Thank you, Binduji. So shall we close the room?
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you all for the attendance, and hope you are able to follow the instructions from the Aparokshanubhuti methodology of Yama, Niyama, etc. If you have got doubt, you can ask me in the Wednesday's class, but I need to explain this once more from the point of view of proper understanding, which we will do it together on Wednesday. Thank you all. Hari Om. Namaskara.
Hari Om.